forcibly, evict a tenant.
To cut off on water and electricity.
Cut off electricity, and just try to make life miserable for that tenant without following due process. This law is not just applicable in Nigeria; it's applicable in the US, the UK, and all the Senate climes that we look up to.
Yes, but now we're talking about Nigerians, where some of us are not so sane.
Yeah.
So, what about tenants that deliberately, in fact, they have no intent, or maybe they don't have the intent, maybe they don't have the capacity to pay their lease. They've leased for 1 year, or they've paid for 1 year, which is why they have some property owners that demand 2 years upfront, 3 years. I've heard of 3 years upfront.
No, people even demand 5 years lease. It depends on the contract. It could be a lease, and it could be just a normal 1 year letting. But the honest truth is that I feel that it is very important that we know as a tenant, we know the rights that we have as a tenant.
Take note of this section 44.
This section 44 of the Lagos State Tenancy Law of 2011. And I'm sure every other 36 states too have their own tenancy laws too that bites landlord and tenant. Because before now there was no law. It was just a case of landlord,
however the property owner decides that they want to,
and all that. And even the tenant too. We have tenants that will remain in the house on purpose and not pay rent.
So what is now that protecting the property owner? Because at the end of the day, property is an investment. All right. And there are some property owners that the cost of the rent is actually quite low. It's really not as high.
No, I agree. I can imagine if you have to evict a tenant paying 200,000 naira, and as a landlord you have to go to court. Knowing that evicting a tenant takes a lot of money.
Yes.
Because you're going to pay a lawyer, and that might spend.
You're going to open the case.
They're going to open the file. You're going to my house for 2 years. He's not paying rent. And the judge asked me, "What do you want the court to do?"
Shouldn't that be a crime? It should be a crime. I mean, technically, you are stealing the cost. Let's assume your rent is 2 million. You are stealing 2 million per year.
Per year, that's
daylight robbery.
Daylight robbery, and so I think asking it there should be a law protecting these laws favors the tenant, and that's why most tenants, hide under that umbrella and misbehave.
Although some tenants are not even aware of these laws.
No, so if you even let me just say that, don't forget that you can be part of the discussion by calling us on 07056 900 I'll take that one more time, 07056 900 927. That's the number to call into the studio. Let us know your take on this discussion, and let's know how your landlord has been treating you. Or have you been a victim?
How much? Have you also been a good tenant?
Have you been a victim of illegal eviction? There was a case of a woman that took off a roof of a tenant some years ago, and that woman was actually sent to jail. Yes, she was trying to evict the tenant illegally, and she didn't go through the due process.
Yes,
there's a due process that's
for
an extant law for evicting tenants. You serve 6 month notice, 3 month notice, 1 month, depending on the type of tenancy.
Yes,
and if the tenant does not go, you serve a notice of owner's intention to recover possession.
Yes.
If the tenant does not still go, you have to go through the courtrooms to get a court order to evict the tenant. A lot of us don't want to go through the courtrooms because of our legal system is actually very, very cumbersome. That's the truth. I'm trying to watch my word, and it's actually very, very let me just say, actually very annoying. Just to evict a tenant in your house can take you 1 year, 2 years. And at the end of the day, the court is supposed to recover what they call men's profit for you, all the arrears of rent that this tenant
will now have to pay for.
And that is also another chapter, because when the tenant when you finally get a court judgment,
they are not paying the rent. How will they now pay the?
So when you finally get a court judgment to evict a tenant who has been in your house for 2 years,
yes,
if the tenant is not willing to pay, what the court will now do is what they call a garnishee. Is a process where that's why when a tenant is coming into your house, you must get all the information required, his BVN, his NI, everything that you need,
as much details as possible.
Because we only know the beginning of a tenancy, we don't know what the end. Just like any relationship.
Yes.
We only know the beginning. We don't know what.
Recently, I had a property owner in their KYC process. They put in their past landlord.
Yes, you put
residential,
your past landlord so they can verify.
Yes, and then their number.
Yes, we've also seen that over time people cheat that system too by putting a fake number of maybe of
or someone that they know.
You find out that you're calling the other brother. He was a good tenant. In fact, he pays rent in advance, so I don't even bother myself to do that. Yeah, that's true. So because people have even gone to stages where they go to their previous houses
to vet the new.
They go to the house the tenant is moving from to ask questions. You know, one time I had a tenant that was going to rent an apartment from me, and thanks to Truecaller, the person was calling to make an inquiry about the house that he was interested.
Yes.
And Truecaller brought the guy's number as troublesome tenant. I said, oh Lord, thank you God for Truecaller.
Thank you God for this person.
So when the man called me and said he was interested, the house is no longer available. There's no need. That conversation ended right there. There's no need. How can for Truecaller to bring your name as troublesome tenant, that means
it's not only one person that saved it as that number.
That means there must have been like 20 people or maybe anybody in the whole locality. So that tells you that tenant, in fact, your tenant already failed the scrutiny.
It means that you dodged the bullet.
There was no point. So I think all this boils down on our data management. We don't have proper data for tenant record.
Yes.
In the UK or the advanced countries, if you are owing rent, you
can check. It will be on the database.
It will be on the database.
It will affect the kind of properties that you can get. Even to purchase, it affects the kind of properties that you can purchase. Yes.
Your credit score generally, and it will affect you getting a job. It will affect you. Yes, I think we have a call.
Hello.
Yes, please. Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Antonia from Ojo.
Hello, Antonia. I think it was Antonia that actually mentioned this thing last time. Thank you for coming. Hello, Antonia.
Antonia, one of our regular callers on the show.
Thank you. I'm enjoying this topic.
As your landlord evicted you,
at least you will take note of the section 44.
No, it's just trying to do one of two things with my water and electricity.
It's a criminal offense for a landlord to try to frustrate a tenant by cutting off water and cutting off electricity. So if your landlord is doing that,
please.
Yes.
This is section 44, the tenancy law.
Lagos State tenancy
law. How can
one
get that tenancy law? Is it online?
It's over everywhere. It's online. It's everywhere. You see, a lot of us don't know that. You see, internet
is actually available online.
It's available everywhere. Section
12. Can we get that from other states too?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is after the show, please call me. I'll get all the other laws that covers other states for you. Section 44 of Lagos State Tenancy Law 2011 says that you cannot illegally,
and they can even go to jail 6 months.
6 months and pay a fine of 250,000 naira. So when landlords know this, they will desist from that act. If you want to evict a tenant, go through the due process, because a lot of them want to cut corners. They don't want to go through the due process. They want to. Yes, please.
I've not received my last.
Oh, sorry. Last week I was out of Lagos. Maybe that was what happened. So please call me after the show, please.
Yes, we will announce the number to call.
We'll send you your voucher.
And you can get your voucher.
Just take. I'm sure she has my number. You have my number, right?
Yes.
Please. I'm a very busy person, but just text me after the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonia.
So back to the discussion. So I mean, it's good that we create a lot of awareness for this.
Yes, we do,
and I agree, public enlightenment.
Yes, and I agree that there are some property owners that that really abuse the power that they have. I mean, shelter is a very necessary. It's a need for human beings, right? I had someone who sent me a message via DM on Instagram, and the person had she had narrated how she moved into a property. She did renovations, she did everything, but from the onset, her property owner she felt that they were very hostile towards her, and that their standards were very high. During construction, they told her she couldn't do at certain times, that she was disturbing her neighbors. During moving in, at some point before she even moved in, they said she had exhausted her service, electricity and utility.
Before she moved in.
Before she even moved in, they said she had exhausted the money that she deposited.
How possible was that?
She was doing a lot of renovations.
Okay.
Right, and then after they announced that they were going to cut her off, and this was like she had barely moved in, and then by the time she was done, she had to top up, and then within like a month or so, the money had also run out, and they cut her off at some point temporarily. And then she had mentioned that initially she had kept on managing, only for not long after another tenant moved in, and this other tenant happened to be an expatriate. All right. and this person was doing construction works the same way she was doing construction work, but there were no restrictions. There seemed to be less like the standard seemed to be lower for this other person. And then at some point when she had a conversation with the person, the person like, like some months in, person, I forgot to update to make payments for it. And she said, how long has it been? She said, the facility manager that's the expatriate spouse had updated her that they were behind by a month or so. She said they hadn't cut them off. They were still staying in the place, and she was now wondering about the double standard. I think this takes me back to the fact that, especially, I don't know if I want to say in Nigeria, there's the gender sensitivity when it comes to tenants in properties.
That's a no-brainer. If a landlord don't even like renting properties to ladies,
to women, to single women especially, and it's really, really unfortunate considering the fact that.
And that's why those single women who used to go and rent a husband to come and pose as a husband. Yes, I've never heard of that. No, it's very rampant. I've had more than 20 cases where single ladies that want to rent apartments will go and bring one man to come and pose as their husband. And you only see that man that day, and that's the end.
Never see me.
So the next time,
I did not know that
the person living in that house is not going to be that woman. You're not
asking her, where's your husband?
We'll say we're having issues. Is it like? So everybody tries to look for means of cheating the system.
But that is not fair. It is not fair that women have to adapt to turn to such. I mean, why?
One time I had a certain lady that was going to rent an apartment from me somewhere in Festac. She told me that she was married. Her husband was offshore. I said, Madam, are you sure your husband is offshore? She said her husband is offshore. She even gave me a number. I tried the number. Of course,
somebody picked. Say, man, it's not to get a man.
Somebody who is offshore, the number will not go. I said, Madam, I can't reach your husband.
You said he's offshore.
Means, the man was on the sea. He was an oil and gas firm. How far is this your number? I said, the number is long. He said, yes, it's on the sea. That's why the number is long. So the woman moved in 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after. This landlord was like, Mr. Mustafa, are you sure that this woman is married? I said, well, she told me that she was married. She even showed me a picture because this woman has kids.
Yes.
I'm sure she's a divorcee or something. So
yes.
2 weeks after this woman moved in, and a month after, the landlord started to see a lot of movements within the compound, different visitors, different faces. And then I was like, guy, this woman, are you sure this woman is married? Different jeeps bringing her into...
First of all, it's not even the property owner's business who our visitors are.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, we found out that she wasn't married. So, sorry, I missed that one point. 3 weeks after this woman moved in, she called me in behind the cameras and said, you know what, Mr. Mustafa, please, I want to confess. After she has paid and she didn't want to lie to me, that she's not married, that she's divorced, and that she's been trying to get accommodation for over 6 months, and once they hear that she's a single mom, they turn her down. And that's why she had to lie to me. I was like, it's okay, I'll let it slide. You have already moved in, but please behave yourself in that property. The landlord lives in the same compound. And she said she was going to behave herself, but unfortunately she couldn't handle it.
The double standard in Nigeria is just the double standard in Nigeria.
I mean, it's a crime to be a single lady in Nigeria.
Honestly, and then to make matters worse, I feel also because she's Nigerian and the other person was an expatriate, the other family, it was now like this double standard was just too obvious.
It was so obvious.
Why would you cut off? And her question was, okay, so what should she do in this situation now? Because she's still in the property, but it's paining her because she feels like so is it because these people are not Nigerians, or is it because I'm a woman? And honestly,
let me also I think it's also very important that we come from a place of, we talk about the place of landlords too. These landlords have invested money. A lot of landlords took loans to build these houses.
Yes.
As a tenant, your civil...
I mean, there are more and more women earning enough, earning very well, enough to cover their lease, their rent, and
I agree. So where I even want to go is to emphasize on areas that protect the landlords too. As a tenant, don't forget that you're not buying the house, you're renting the house.
Yes.
So you're a temporary owner for 1 year or 2 years or any amount of month you paid for
the duration.
So you must understand that you have a duty of care to pay your rent as I went due.
Yes.
Use that house in a proper way and manner that the house will not depreciate. Some people will rent houses and start to sublet without the landlord's consent. Some will rent houses in a the landlord will spend millions to renovate. If you go to that house after 3-4 months, that house is a complete mess. So you have to understand that that's not what you're supposed to be doing as a tenant too. And tenant, I think we should call on appropriate authorities. Maybe our courtrooms, our judges, our lawyers.
Yes.
They should be a more faster means of evicting a tenant.
No.
Genuinely.
Hold on. The point is not about eviction. The point is about retrieving your money from the tenant.
No, it's not.
Because you are now saying that there should be a fast. Yes.
No, let me tell you.
A faster way means that.
No, there should no. I mean that our court processes needs to have a faster process in a manner such that if you want to evict a tenant, it shouldn't take 2 years.
Okay.
Because these landlords too needs to be protected. So how can a tenant who is living in my house also have more rights than me? How can a tenant who is living in my house as a tenant, how can the law be protective of such tenant than me as a landlord who has probably borrowed money to build my house? So the law should not be one-sided.
Yes, I agree.
So the rights of landlords also should be protected.
True,
as a tenant, if you don't pay your rent, anything you wear your eyes, you face it. But yes, let the landlord go through the right, because this I'm putting myself.
It sounds
I can
very
tell you,
personal for you.
Yes, I can tell you, many landlords who are frustrated. I've had landlords who have told me, bros, I don't want if anything rent out to tenants. I'm not doing it again. I'm done. Because at the end of the day, tenants will not pay rent. You will take them to court and court for 3 years. Yeah? And even if you take them to ADR centers, the alternative dispute resolution centers, that the multi-door court, like we have around Lagos, those are not even very effective, because if a party does not come, do you want to go and use police to bring him to ADR? This tenant that I have in court now, he has not been to court. The matter has been in court for 2 years. This tenant has never been in court for 1 day.
Really?
He keeps sending a lawyer. Yes, and the judge is administering that case. That means by now, I think that by now, even that judge should have understood that and you know, and give us judgment to say, please go and evict this person, because he's not coming to court.
Yes.
So he's not even taking the court seriously.
That's really unfair, though.
He's just in one place, sending one lawyer, giving one lawyer one amount to come and be standing for him, and the judge is even entertaining the case. That's a disrespect to even to the court itself. So there's just so much. So I think
it's a very delicate line, in the sense that they also have property owners who abuse the fact that they have the house, they have access to cutting off your water.
No doubt.
And water and electricity are necessary needs in a property, in a home or office space, wherever it is that you someone is staying in. So cutting it off, sometimes even restricting them access in and out of a space, or even forcibly removing their property from inside the space and throwing it out on the streets. You know, some people really abuse it, in the sense that some families are going through things. Sometimes, you know, as I mentioned, like with this lady now, that is an example. She tried her best to uphold and stay with the standards that the property owner had set, and then just 1 or 2 glitches, you know, it was obvious that they were trying to almost frustrate her out of the property.
I agree, but
so it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing. As a tenant, you have the right to comply with every section of the agreement that is binding you to your landlord or binding you to that lease.
Yes.
Pay your rent, put the house to a good use, and you know, I mean, that's about it. It's very simple. And as a landlord, also, you have a right to make sure that the tenants have a right to peaceful enjoy the premises or the property throughout the time of the lease, and that you must make sure that there are certain amenities provided for the water, light. We live in a country where tenants will be the ones to go and be looking for water by themselves.
True.
Will be the ones to go and be providing their power, because the landlord has refused to. So a lot of these things depends on the contract from the onset. What did you guys agree? I rented a property in Lekki Phase 1 just last week. The property is obviously needs a lot of renovation, and this tenant who rented it needed to.
I have another call.
Yes. Okay. All right. Morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from? Okay, please. How do you want to contribute on the show?
I want to ask a question about my own issue.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, in a situation where you are paying rent for a year and the landlord increase the rent suddenly without no agreement, nothing. Just wrote an increment on the paper and give it to you. So I went to the landlord, begging, pleading for reduction. That this money is too much.
When did you move into the house? Is it just 1 year? 1 year ago?
Yes.
Or you've been there for a long time?
4 years ago.
Okay, has the landlord increased your rent
in the last 4 years?
In the last 4 years?
No.
This is the first time. How much were you paying, and how much did you take the rent to?
What was the difference? Was it like 50% or 100% difference?
I'm paying 200, increase it to 400.
To 400, that's 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So
double the rent.
So let me say something. It is I'm going to tell you the rate of percentage for rent increase is not 100%. It's about 25 to 30% maximum.
That's by law.
But we know that a lot of landlords don't follow the law. That's the truth. They do what they like. Just listen to the show, please. They do whatever they like, and that's where the place of our institutions come in, our government agencies. That's why Lagos State government is even. I saw a news last week that they said that they want to cut agency fees to 5%. And all the agents in Lagos State, everybody say, which kind of have you been looking at it? Look at even near that area at all.
Leave the 10% as it is.
Yeah, so it's still a very topical conversation right now. True. But so if you want to, so I think what your landlord has done, you can write him a letter to negotiate. So rent increment is negotiable.
Okay,
it's
so
not cast in stone.
First of all,
yes.
He mentioned that he hasn't increased it in the last 4 years.
In the last 4 years.
That's a substantial amount of time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
However,
so she's long overdue for an increment.
Yes, at least for
because
price,
rent is reviewed every 2 years.
Yes,
based
the
on
rent
the
can be
tenancy
reviewed
law,
every 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but still, and then also she also mentioned suddenly. That means he did not give proper notification. He's supposed to give at least your proper notification that okay,
like
in the next
6 months notice
6
in
months
advance
notice,
that is increasing rent.
We are going
and
to increase rent.
Comply, or if you guys don't agree, then he gives you
a hand, then he gives a notice, and then also not 100% increase. You can do the 25, 20, 30.
Yeah.
But
I think she should negotiate with the landlord. That's what I'll tell her. That's my advice to you. Negotiate with her.
Engage your landlord and negotiate.
They say peace is priceless. Because when you can't fight, you're not of his house. You can only say, oh God, please let me pay this amount, and I'm sure he would put a human face to it to say, okay,
based on you've been a tenant for the last 4 years,
and you've been a good tenant and you don't owe. Sometimes some landlords increase 100% because they want you to go.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. That what if they want to
remove they want that to, so maybe the person hasn't been a good tenant and they're looking for grounds to let the person go. They can some even do 200%. Some don't even have any percent. They just take it from what I've seen a rent from 300,000 naira to 1.5 million naira before. Yes, that's from 300k. So how many percent is that? Not over 300%.
Yes, that's 300%. That's even more.
So percentage does not really work in this country. Landlords,
but it should. The things that we take for granted.
Yes, that's why a lot of enforcement,
especially in real estate, because it's housing. It's a necessity.
Don't also forget that we're live on our Facebook page on Super FM 92.7 Lagos, and also on YouTube, Super FM Lagos, so you can watch us live and listen to us live. So it's been a very interesting conversation in the studio.
Yes, it has.
You see, any topic that has to do with somebody sending me a message. Good morning, Mr. Mustafa. Can I see that message? Enjoying the show. Just a quick question. What does the law say about tenants who rent an apartment but somehow is using this apartment temporarily for his business, fashion purpose, and how long is an eviction notice supposed to be for, please?
That's when you convert a residential property into a commercial property.
So that's now a dual use. So you rented
mixed use property.
Yeah. So I think this
we'll
is actually
this next week, no?
And
I think it's a very important
and that's a very
because it happens a lot in Nigeria.
In Lekki now, you see somebody rent a duplex, she will use ground floor for a fashion house.
I mean, it's your property.
So it depends on what you agree with the landlord. Did you rent it for commercial or residential?
True.
It has to be clearly stated.
But then Lagos happens to you. Maybe you wanted to use it for residential, and then
but
maybe you've lost your job, or you started a business, and then you want to use it. It must be with the landlord's consent.
Yes, you can't just But
the landlord needs his rent. I want to do my business to gather the rent.
When they give you offer letter, they spell it out. Residential purpose, commercial, and nothing like residential stroke commercial.
So it's important that the property owners also